to me, Juno just seemed very like too well written. And I guess, maybe it all makes up for the other crappy characters in movies today that are not well written. But
you're basically saying the same things that I did. I felt like the script, which is by Diablo Cody and it has been Oscar nominated and is highly praised, I felt like it had the characters tripping over their own tongues a few times, especially Juno and especially in those early scenes. But I also thought that it settled down pretty quick,
right,
and became a very good script. One of the moments that I thought that really stuck out for me, there's a moment where Juno is at the mall, and she happens to bump into Jennifer Garner's character, and she's very pregnant at that point, Juno is, and she offers to let Jennifer Garner feel her pregnant belly and feel the baby kick. And Jennifer Garner, who's this very type A personality, sort of on the cold side, puts her hand on there after some cajoling. And then, do you remember the line, Dave? Do you remember the line she says right then?
No, I do not. Maybe our next guest does.
Maybe he does. He's seen the movie a few times.
For the second time this year, our special guest, movie critic, Dan Gire. Mr. Gire, welcome back to Pop Culture America with John and Dave.
It's an honor to be here, gentlemen.
Thank you, Dan.
Hi, Dan. How are you?
I'm fine. Although, I'm trying to remember what Jennifer Garner actually did say. Didn't she say hello, baby?
Eventually she does. Eventually she does. But the first thing she says is, "I can't feel anything,"
yes,
which is
a bad sign.
Which is this it's a perfectly normal thing to say, but it's also very revelatory about her character. And that's where I thought, here's some good writing.
And you know what else? The other thing is, and you mentioned it just sort of vaguely, but I'll hit it on the head.
Good.
Jennifer Garner is absolutely astonishing in this film.
Thank you.
I mean, when you look at her background, Alias, and the other,
Elektra.
That one, yeah. Even Kingdom Come, where she's, this FBI agent rocking and rolling over in the Mideast.
Oh, yeah.
Those are pretty thin characters. But here she's got a real character, and you can just, for the first 30 seconds you meet her, you just know she's this brittle, uptight, suburbanite perfectionist who probably does her nails, half an hour before she leaves in the morning and that kind of thing. It's a wonderfully well-wrought, understated character and a terrific performance by her. One, of course, sadly not acknowledged by the Oscar nominations.
Yes, criminally overlooked. I actually put it on my predictions pretty much out of sentiment, knowing I was going to take a bath for it, and I don't care. I'd rather stand up for something I like.
Well, as you both gentlemen are well aware, you being students of popular culture, the Oscars have a fine and distinguished history of always ignoring the actual best works during the year in favor of those which either are temporarily popular or fit the Academy's political agenda.
And I find that true especially in the supporting categories, where they don't really have any kind of definition for what they're talking about with supporting actress or actor.
You got to remember something else, too, and you guys will probably agree with me on this. I mean, here you got a group of voters, around 5,000 voters in the Academy total, and they don't know which way is up. I mean, they don't even know the difference sometimes between what is a best actor and a best supporting actor.
Here.
That's true.
By the way, you're listening to Pop Culture America with John and Dave. We are talking with movie critic Dan Gire from the Daily Herald and also the Chicago Film Critics Association.
I think Juno is probably going to get acknowledged, as a lot of comedies do, a lot of independent films do, in the screenplay category.
Yeah, I was listening to your commentary on the screenplay, and I've gotten several letters from readers about it's not realistic. This film just isn't, people don't talk like that. It's too cutesy-poo, and it's too snappy, and it's, the reason.
I was just saying that about 2 minutes ago, but.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And you're not wrong, except I think that when Diablo Cody wrote this thing, she starts off hitting you with her best shot. All this heavy-handed stuff pulls back a little bit. And I think that's because she's announcing that, throw away any idea that this is supposed to be realistic conversations. All the characters in this movie are sharp.
Yeah.
They're witty, and they're focused, and they're funny, and everything. And this is a style. And what I argue is that if you go in to see Juno and you expect realism, realistic characters, realistic dialogue, forget it. What we have here is a stylized communication. This is stylized dialogue. It's no different than Damon Runyon in Guys and Dolls, where everybody in the mafia, or I shouldn't say that, in the gangster world in New York City, talk with impeccable English grammar, Or David Mamet, who views the world as everybody talks in the same kind of obscene, laced, sing-song diatribe stuff, the bottle. The bottle, I need the bottle. I saw the bottle. The bottle, it's there. The bottle's there. I mean, no one talks like that either. And every character in his movie is stylized, and plays are stylized.
Actually, I have to correct you. John does talk off air like David Mamet, by the way.
Where's my bottle?
Every other thing is a cuss word and this, and apparently I've won like 7 or 8 pairs of steak knives. So
there you go. But again, I say it's Diablo Cody. This is a stylized form of banter. This is the whole movie. There's not one character like in sitcoms where the kid gets all the snappy remarks and everyone else are stupid.
No.
Father is sharp. The father is funny. There's that great scene, remember, where he's sitting and they're talking. The father, Juno, are sitting talking to Jennifer Garner and Jason Bateman with the attorney there, and they're talking about stuff. And Jennifer Garner explains that I've always wanted to be a mother. Have you ever had that feeling that you were destined to be something? And the dad says, what's the dad say? He says, heating and air conditioning.
Heating and air conditioning, that's right, yes. I forgot.
Okay, and Jennifer Garner goes, oh, yeah, see, there you go. Because she's not all that bright. She doesn't get it that this guy's putting her on.
No.
But he is witty, and he's sarcastic, and then when he says it's one of Juno's many genetic gifts that she's a sassy mouth, well, you know where she gets it from. And every character in this movie, I argue, is deliberately smart and deliberately sharp, except for Jennifer Garner, who is deliberately not quite with it because she's too focused on herself and her appearance and how she's coming across and her own needs.
And actually, she's the one who actually has the dramatic turn at the end. So, along with Jason Bateman somewhat.
And the movie, I'm telling you, we're not going to ruin it for people, but the moment where he makes that announcement to his wife,
heartbreaking.
It completely takes you by surprise. It almost knocks the air out of you.
Yeah. And then you kind of do forget that Juno is a comedy. I mean, that's why maybe it will slip in to the voters, the Academy voters, as saying this is not a comedy. This is a comedy drama, a well-made comedy drama. And I mean, to me, the little scenes made Juno. Where I liked, when the ultrasound with which Allison Janney did a wonderful, just sticking up for her daughter.
Again, you're talking about this element of surprise. These are characters who do things that constantly surprise us. But then we look back on it and we go, why would we be surprised? This is how they would react. But we're so used to being programmed with really bad scripts in Hollywood and stereotypes and cliches. We sort of forgot what it was like to be genuinely surprised by characters. And I think this is the greatest strength that Juno has.
And I think that's also a general thing about all 5 of the pictures that are nominated for Best Picture is they all have really memorable endings.
Dan, I do have to ask you something. We've been arguing over the last half hour with John, and you have to admit that Juno is an updated version from 1988's For Keeps with Molly Ringwald. Am I right or am I right?
You know what? There are certain similarities to it. I would say that anytime you improve on a work like that, to such the great extent that Juno does, it gets credit for its own birth. So, you can.
So what you're saying? What you're saying is that Michael Cera is an improvement over Randall Batinkoff. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I guess we can say that safely. Definitely.
All right, I could deal with that. So, hey, Dan, have a great weekend. We appreciate you coming on the show. So
it's been a pleasure.
And it's always a pleasure. And hey, please, come back in the next month or so, and we'd love to talk to you and pick your brain again.
We'll find out how Oscar got it wrong.
Right, and believe me, about the brain picking part, well, the pickings are pretty slim. But it's always good.
Well, we'll take a week.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Bye.